Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Harris School of Public Policy Studies, the Islam and Public Policy Discussion Group, and Chicago Booth's Emerging Markets Group, I'd like to welcome you all to an address by Professor Muhammad Yunus. Please help me welcome him. I'd like to welcome Dean Kolam Umurheteg.
Did it right.
Did I? To deliver the opening remarks.
One of the signs of advanced age is that people have to introduce you before you're allowed to introduce anybody else. So it's a real pleasure for me to be here this evening. A number of aspects of the event I think are particularly noteworthy. This is a collaboration between the Booth School and the Harris School, which are both at the University of Chicago, but have other aspects that are not identical. And these differences were evident in a recent joint venture. Some of the same people were involved in this microfinance conference, which was held, in fact, at Booth's last week or the week before, sometime recently, which I had the pleasure of attending. One of the sessions I attended was called Microfinance and Wall Street. And the discussion, I thought, I imagine, was quite different from the discussion we're going to have here this evening. I had realized that microfinance involved the buying and selling of debt, trading of debt from microfinance institutions worldwide. But I was pleased to know that there were two such different points of view on campus, and I hope they're both represented here tonight as well. Although how much they have in common with the original vision of Professor Yunus, we'll find out as we go along. It's a real pleasure, indeed an honor, to welcome Professor Yunus. He's almost the perfect structured person for this activity. He was trained as an economist. He followed on by becoming a professor of economics and chairman of the economics department. And most people would never recover from this start in life. However, he fought bravely against adversity and turned his life around in a way that we should all try to emulate, and devoted a large part of his life to the poorest of the poor, but not in a meaningless or abstract way, but in a practical way that was informed, at least in part, by his study and understanding of economics. So he's going to talk to us this evening for a while, half an hour or so, and then take questions and answers, and after that we'll retire to the quiet study area for book signing and questions and general conversation. I'm looking forward to hearing Professor Yunus speak. It's a real pleasure to have met him. I know you're looking forward to hearing him speak, and therefore I'm going to stop speaking so that he can. Professor Yunus.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't know where to begin, because I see everybody's expert in microfinance here, because you already had a microfinance conference, and some of you, like him, he has visited Bangladesh, stayed with the Grameen Bank, so all the information is here. What I will try to do is a kind of update you what we have been doing and what led us to do different kind of things. One way I would say, which I try to describe what Grameen Bank is, it's almost banking we do in a reverse way. I've been doing a lot of funny things. This is one of the funny things I did. Almost reversing what the conventional banks do. Conventional banks go to the rich, we go to the poor, and so on. Going to the men, we go to the women. They do the city center, we do the village. They rely on collateral, we forget about collateral. They have a lot of lawyers, we don't have any lawyers. So you can go on doing that, and banks are owned by the rich people. We made it sure that this is owned by the poor people, and to boot, poor women. So everything that you see almost in a reverse fashion. And it works. We continue to do that and expand. And in Bangladesh, we work all over Bangladesh. Almost every single village has a program, Grameen Bank program going. We have over 2,600 branches all over the country with something about 27,000 staff, with over 8 million borrowers, mostly women, 97% women. And the borrowers own the bank, so they sit in the board, they make the decisions. And we lend out over $100 million a month in tiny loans, now averaging about $200. And people take money, pay back, and good repayment. And we sort of paid attention to the children. And those of you who have some familiarity with Grameen Bank would remember something called 16 decisions that they will live up to do things for themselves. And one of the 16 decisions is that we shall send our children to school, because these are all illiterate women. And not only illiterate women, all the family members are illiterate, because literacy never entered those families. So we wanted to make sure the children don't follow the same path. They go to school. So we encouraged them to follow the 16 decisions, it's their decisions, and we succeeded. Then we saw gradually these students coming to higher education. So we give them education loans because their parents cannot support them in higher education. So we have thousands and thousands of students who are in medical schools, engineering schools, universities, and so on. Some of them have completed their PhDs, some of them are already teaching at various institutions or practicing their professions. So we have a second generation coming from these families are quite different from their first generation, those who are borrowers. So we wanted to break the cycle of poverty, which has been repeating over years and years and years. So we thought this is one way to do that, create a new generation out of these families. And we are very happy that it's happening. And these young people, sometimes when I meet, they ask questions and excitement, they express their excitement. The question basically comes, that's good that we are having education, this is a lifetime opportunity for us. We have the first generation who are in school. What about our jobs? Bangladesh doesn't have any jobs, or not many jobs anyway. But how do we find our jobs? So we try to again resolve it another way. I keep telling them, look, you are very privileged young people, unlike other young people in the country. For a simple reason, your mother owns a bank. And you not have many young people in Bangladesh whose mother own a bank. So money is not your problem. Why should you be looking for a job? So you should be thinking in a very different way, and you make it part of your educational process. You should be thinking that always repeat this as a pledge, that I'm not a job seeker, I'm a job giver. So prepare to become a job giver. And if you feel frustrated, you look at your mother, because she started some 10 years, 20 years back without knowing anything. And she was nervous wreck when she was first joining Grameen Bank to take that $30, $40 loan. And she braved her way through and then paid back the loan and then moved to the next level, to $60 loan or something, and gradually started expanding her businesses. And in the way you are born, then she sent you to school, she continued to work, and today you are in university or in medical school, wherever you are. So if you cannot do what your mother does, what good is your education if you are not better than your mother? So see if you can do something that your mother did. And with your education, if you have no other idea, just do the thing what your mother did in several times more, because your education is there. Or if you are capable in the meantime, you can create something completely new and make a living for yourself and create jobs for others. In the beginning, they were not sure what I was talking about, but gradually we said, here is the loan, you can come. And for creating jobs, creating enterprise, you don't need a piece of paper called degree. For taking a job to work for somebody, you need that piece of paper. So you have to wait until you get that. But you don't have to wait when you start a business. While you're in school, you can start a business, a small one, but expose yourself, the experience of it. Gradually, by the time you finish your school, you're ready with experience and plans. You have made all mistakes, whatever mistakes you have done, now you're ready. And I'm very happy that many of the students are following that path. They are going in that direction. We are hoping more and more students will come in that direction and make that happen. So whenever, in my work, whenever I saw a problem, I always reacted in a certain way. It became a habit with me. Whenever I see a problem, I create a business to solve the problem. So in the way, I created lots of businesses. Today, I would say, I don't even keep counts of them. More than 40 companies that we have created. Some of them very successful companies, big companies, like Grameen Phone, for example. Some of you may be familiar. It's a cell phone company in Bangladesh. It's the largest cell phone company in Bangladesh. Idea of creating that cell phone company was to bring cell phone in the villages, because villages didn't have any cell phone. The whole country didn't have much of a cell phone. When we began in 1997, I still remember the total number of telephone in the country was less than 500,000. So in that, and they are all in the city. No, it doesn't go to the village. In that context, we created this company. And we elaborated our intention why we want to have a cell phone company to the government agency which will give us the license, telling them that we want to bring cell phone in the villages. They were not very happy about it. Why should you take a cell phone in the village? And then we said that we want to bring cell phone in the village and give the cell phone to the poor women. Again, that was a very shocking kind of information for them. Because at that time, when you're launching this company, cell phone was a symbol of authority and symbol of power. You have to be really rich, extra rich, to have a cell phone in the country. Because there was only one company, a few thousand cell phone users. So then at that time to say, it's almost like saying that you want to bring the Mercedes in the village and you give the Mercedes to the village woman. It's a shocking thing. Why you do that? Even they asked me, who is she going to call? I said, no, she's not going to call anybody. She will sell the service of the phone to other people and make money by doing that. But finally we got the license and gave the money to the poor women to buy the cell phone and start the business. It became a roaring business. Almost we started calling them telephone ladies. Those telephone ladies became a very successful businesswoman in getting out of poverty because they made so much money. It was just a matter of months, matter of couple of years to completely forget about what poverty used to be like. They're everything. They were really roaring with their business. So that happened, women using this cell phone and making this business. In the process, cell phone became very popular in Bangladesh. We are the only cell phone company in the world which first of all went to the village. Nobody else did. Everybody was looking for the urban centers. So every company now started looking for the rural areas. Today we have over 56 million subscribers in the country. Altogether, there are 6 companies in the country. Altogether, there are 56 million subscribers in a nation of 150 million people. So you can imagine nobody is without a cell phone. So it's everywhere. But in the process, our telephone ladies, who are numbering about over 400,000 telephone ladies, they gradually lost their business because now everybody has a phone who wants to come and make phone calls. So we keep planning that since these cell phones are internet-enabled phones, because not only it's a cell phone, you can access the internet with the cell phone. It's carrying this internet access. So we keep planning that we will be making these telephone ladies into internet ladies. They will be providing the internet services. And this will sooner or later will become a reality, because now we are focusing in a big way on the healthcare issue. We had healthcare built into our program for a long time, but we are going into healthcare in a very elaborate way to bring healthcare to the poor people. And cell phone will play a very important role in bringing healthcare to the poorest people, and not only poorest people, everybody in the village, so that nobody has to worry about their healthcare anymore in a social business way. That's a word I will introduce a little bit later. So this is the cell phone company, but one of the problems we faced in the cell phone, country doesn't have electricity, particularly in the villages. 70% of the people in Bangladesh don't have access to electricity. So rural areas have no electricity. How do you bring phones in the villages which don't have electricity? So immediately we come up with a solution, solar energy, of course. All you need is small solar panel, plug it in, you got it. You don't have to worry. So we created a solar energy company called Grameen Shakti or Grameen Energy. That became another big company to bring solar energy in the rural areas. We have right now over 360,000 solar home system working in Bangladesh. And each month we sell about 16 to 17,000 solar home system right now. It keeps growing every month. And it's fully sustainable. We provide all these services and people pay for it. And they like it because it's a darkness versus light. No entertainment versus television. So you get a television connected and you watch it. Everything is done. For them, it's a fantastic thing to happen. So that is expanding. If we can see the solar panel cost going down a little bit, today we pay nearly about $3 per watt. If it can be, they are always promising that technological breakthrough is coming, it will go down, it will be very cheap. If it becomes cheap, really cheap, if you say $1.50 per watt, then I think we can make whole country, Bangladesh, based on solar home system, because it makes so much economic sense for everybody, and we have the methodology to make it to bring it to them, and they are ready to pay for it. So that's it. Then we introduced the biogas, because there are lots of cattle, lots of money that we give as a loan for cattle. So this is very easy to produce biogas. So we introduced biogas. That also picking up very well. And then we used to do it in a brick and mortar kind of plant, which took time and quality. Then quality varied a lot. So now we are moving into fiberglass domes that we manufacture fiberglass domes and use it for plant. And it's good because you have gas. You don't have to wait for pieces of wood to burn to cook your food, which is a normal thing. 150 million people cooking 3 meals a day use up lots of wood. So by using biogas, you can cook, you can have lighting, and then slurry becomes a good organic fertilizer. So every way, it makes a lot of economic sense in doing that. So that is also getting more and more popular, and we hope this catches up quickly. The last one in the solar energy, the renewable energy thing, we were doing improved cooking stove at the same time, because the conventional stove takes up lots of wood. Even if you're not moving into gas or anything, you can improve the stove itself. And we had the design. We thought, why don't we try? So we started trying out. That's also catching up very well. This saves wood by half at least. And also a more important thing, it saves the health of the women who cook, because they not only cook, lots of fume comes out when you're cooking. And particularly women, when they're cooking, they're always have a baby on their lap, and also one probably is hanging on to her. So there are 2 babies with her when she's cooking, and all the fume gets shared by everybody. And respiratory disease is very common as a result. So if you can switch it to this improved solar cook, there is no fume. It's very clean. Everybody sees that you don't have to really clean your dishes every day the way you kitchen utensils every day because of the fuel and so on. So this is another one. So we see, the reason I'm telling all this story, because I have created all these companies, and people tell me, you must be a very rich man. You own so many companies. Then I look around and say, no, I don't own them. I'm not a rich man. Then they get puzzled. Why do you create companies, such a huge, big company, like Grameen Phone, for example? Grameen Phone is the largest cell phone company. It has more than 50% market share of the country among the 6 operators. And it's the largest company in the country. So it's a huge company. And I never thought of buying one single share of that. That never entered my mind. Similarly, other companies that we have, I never bought any share. I never own a share. Even Grameen Bank, which is owned by the borrowers, I don't own any share. And it created a lot of difficulty when we were creating the legislation for it as a bank, because the lawyers told me that I cannot be in the board. And it kind of makes it awkward because I created a bank that I cannot be in the board. Their argument is very simple. Since you are not an owner, you cannot be on the board. So I said, you have to find a way to put me on the board, otherwise how do we do it? So finally, after a lot of debates, they finally found a solution. I'm on the board, but a non-voting board member. So I cannot vote in the board meeting. I thought this is just a natural thing. Then I realized that maybe it's not as natural as I was thinking. Maybe I'm creating another kind of business, which is missing. And I wish they were there. This would have been a very attractive thing to have if we could include it in our business world as a class of business. That would create a lot of opportunities for other people. Then I realized what's happening in the theoretical structure of the economics. I said economic theorists misinterpreted human beings, because in their interpretation, when human beings come into the business world, the only purpose of their being in business is to make money. And profit maximization is the mission of business. I said, that doesn't sound right, because after all, human beings are not one-dimensional beings. You can say human beings, all they do in the business world is just make money. Human beings are multidimensional beings. They should be playing their multidimensional aspect in the business world too. Why should you have a kind of fragmented human being running the whole economy of the world? So I said, maybe this is what happened. Economists looked at the selfishness in human being, and they thought this is the most important aspect or most overpowering aspect of human being, and build the whole theory of business on the basis of that. Everything is for me, nothing for others. So I try to bring everything to me in a business way. I said, for selfish purpose, it's okay. But also all human beings are selfless beings too. Equally strong, selfless being. It's not just marginally there. I should say that if we are selfish, at the same time we are selfless. And nobody is spared from that. We all have that in us. We may have exercised that quality, may not have exercised that quality, but it is in the package that we call human being. We cannot escape that. I said, how come economists didn't look at that part, didn't build a business on top of it? So I said, maybe that's an opportunity. Why don't we build a business on the basis of selflessness? To give a reference to the other one, in this business, everything is for others, nothing for me. Kind of reversal again. We can do that. And that's the business I started calling social business. And I said, maybe I was trying to create those kind of social businesses where I'm not interested in making money, I'm going to solve problems. And social business is about solving problems in a business way. What did the economists do about the selflessness? They said, okay, if you are selfless, if you want to express your selflessness, you step outside of the economic world. You become a philanthropist. You give away your money. I said, that's not a solution. Why do I have to leave the economic world and become a philanthropist? And in philanthropy, I can achieve goal, I can solve problems, but my money goes, it solves the problem, but it never comes back. So next time I need to do the same thing, repeat the same thing, I need a fresh batch of money to do that. If I could design it as a social business, my money will start recycling. It will start within the system, and it will continue up to perpetuity, because it's a business. You're recovering your cost, and each cycle you're achieving the objective for which you created the company. So that idea, and people didn't pay much attention to what I'm saying. So I started making those companies in a very specific way. So far I was doing it without understanding what I was doing, because I thought I was solving problems. Now, very deliberately, I was designing social businesses and started putting it into a specific format. And again, nobody paid attention. It started getting attention when a multinational company have a joint venture with us to create a social business. That's Danone. So we created Grameen Danone company in Bangladesh as a social business. Danone loved it, we loved it. What we do, the purpose of this company, again, the solution, the problem that we are trying to solve is the malnutrition among the children. There are millions of children in Bangladesh, and half the children of Bangladesh are malnourished, and most of them are severely malnourished. So it's not a very good prospect for a nation to have severely malnourished young people growing up. Actually, they don't even grow up. They remain stunted. Their mental faculty becomes stunted. Their physical growth becomes stunted. So that's a wrong start for any human being. Then many attempts have been made in the past to see if you can improve many awareness generation, food habits, etc., but this doesn't seep in. Most people are poor. So what we do, we create this company as a social business, produce yogurt, and put all the micronutrients which are missing in the children into that yogurt, vitamin, iron, zinc, iodine, and make it very cheap so that poor people can afford it, and sell it to the children. And the children love it because it's delicious yogurt. If a child eats 2 cups of this yogurt within a week and continues this for, I'm always hitting this thing, continues to do so for 8 to 9 months, child gets back all the micronutrients and becomes a healthy, playful child. So what a difference within a year that the child becomes a healthy child. That's the purpose, to see how many children get out of malnutrition, because that's a whole focused attention to the company. So we create that company. It's become a successful company. We sell lots of yogurts. Children love it. Our first plant has been fully utilized. Now we are setting up the second and the third plant at different locations. And these are small plants. And we are planned to do 50 such plants all over the country. We made a small plant so that we can avoid the cold chain to reduce the cost. If it's a neighborhood plant, it's easy to get the milk and sell the yogurt in the same neighborhood. So this is the idea of one social business. Many other companies started coming out to approach us that they would like to do social business with us. So we have water company with Grameen Veolia as a joint venture with Veolia, is a water company in France. We have Grameen BASF. BASF is a chemical company in Germany. So we produce mosquito nets, treated mosquito nets against the malaria, dengue, and other diseases, so that people don't get bitten by the mosquitoes and get malaria or dengue fever, which is a killer. Then we have other companies like Japanese companies, Uniqlo, it's joint venture with us. We have another one, Grameen Adidas, with shoe company, to produce shoes affordable to the poorest people. And the idea that we are promoting to that nobody in the world should go without shoes. How to make it possible. So we create a social business company, make it very cheap, affordable, at the same time very sturdy shoes. It's not for just the comfort and or the fashion of it. is because many of our diseases enter our body through the skin of our feet, particularly parasitic diseases, and is very common in Bangladesh because a lot of people are barefoot. So you see the young child bloated stomach filled with parasites. So we want to stop that. And it's a killer disease. At the same time, it is a major cause of malnutrition. So we thought this would be one solution while we are doing the yogurt and all this. Why not do the shoes also at the same time? So this is a social business. So everywhere the social business is dedicated to a cause, and the owners don't want to take any profit out of it. It is exclusively for the purpose. Company makes profit, but the owners don't take profit by decision. That's all. So many other ideas are coming, and I said any problem you see around us can be designed as a social business. And these ideas around many things, like I was in Glasgow talking to the students in Glasgow Caledonian University, and during the discussion one point came out that Glasgow city has thousands of families who are in third generation unemployment. So I said, that's a shocking news to see in a city like Glasgow having third generation unemployed people. And they explained why it happened, because of the welfare and so on and so forth. I said, well, if that's the way it is, but we can solve it. It's a question of coming up with the design of a social business. If you can take 10 people out of those families in permanent unemployment, then you found a way how to solve this problem. You don't have to, social business doesn't have to be a mega business. It could be a tiny little business. But it focuses on the problem, designs it, and do it. And it's all you have to do is either you create jobs for them in a business where you can employ them, focused on them, or create self-employment for them, or create enterprise for them so that they run and own bigger enterprise, not just self-employment. All these are possible. It's a question of, again, using your creativity, how you do that. And I've been telling people that job creation is so easy. We keep looking at job creation as if it's the most difficult part. I said, no, this is the easiest part when you come to the social business. Because in a conventional business, you create an enterprise with the objective of maximizing profit. So you design everything with that purpose. And creation of job is a byproduct, because in order to achieve that, you need to hire some people. And it has to fit to your objective. So you hire people that you need at different levels. But social business starts in a completely different setup. This starts, I want to create 10 jobs for the families in third generation unemployed. So this is very defined. This is the kind of business I have to create, not any business. A business which can absorb these people. So my business has to fit into that. So the objective is the job creation, a specific nature, not just in a general nature. This is one. Number two is, in conventional business, you will not invest in an enterprise unless you are assured of 30% return on your investment or something like that. You have a bottom line. Below that, you will not do that. So job creation stops there, even the general nature of business. So below there, nobody will invest. In social business, you don't need that. You don't need to have a minimum return on your investment, because you're saying we don't need any dividend for ourselves. All we need to do is to solve the problem in a business way. So from 0 to 30%, where no profit-making business will ever come, you have an empty space. You create as many jobs as you want as a social business, and you can do that. So this is, you open up entire new opportunities for job creation and also enterprise creation and so on and so forth. So these are the opportunities. You have, you look at environmental issue, you can create social business. Forestry is an exciting social business issue. You can create beautiful forest as a social business, because the forest is in danger. It's in danger because government bureaucracy, which is given responsibility of take care of forests in most of the countries, they become the one who kind of finish up the forest because they get the money. When you give the private sector to take care of the forest, the first thing they do is to chop it off to make money. So it's a very risky thing. One probably space there for social business to try out how to do it, not for making money, but to preserve or create forestry to do that. So you can, it's all question of technology, all question of creativity. Today the world has enormous amount of technology, and each day it's growing bigger and bigger. It's a fantastic power of the technology. But who commands this technology? Business commands this technology. And what do they do with it? They use this technology to make money. If somehow we could use this technology to solve our problems, problems will disappear very soon. So social business opened that door. How to use business technology to do that. Philanthropy cannot do that. In most of the philanthropy cases, it's simple. You write a check and give it to somebody. You're not involved in it. You just gave the money. But in social business, you get involved. Because you're a business person, you have experience, you know how to run it, how to design it, and you get so much involved, you night and day you're thinking about it because it's an exciting thing to solve a problem. That excitement you cannot compare with making money. People say, well, your work will not work because making money is the thing which brings happiness. I said, yes, true. But if you knew what kind of happiness you get when you touch other people's life, you wouldn't say that anymore because you didn't have a chance to do that. So you think that's the only thing because that's the only thing you know. So if you put side by side, you see people will gradually shift in the direction of changing the world because after all, everybody at one time or another come to the point, well, we are here for only a short time. How do I leave my signature on this planet? This is a question comes, particularly people who can see that they made a lot of money, but seems like the signature is not there. So anybody. So this opens an option. What can be done? Or how we proceed. So today there's only one option. You get a good degree, good education, and get a good job. And join a company, make the shareholders earn more profit. That's it. But with the social business, you have option. Whether you'd like to work for a social business or you want to you'd like to work for a profit-making business. This option doesn't exist today. So I'm talking about options, not about closing down one and doing something else altogether. No. Let everything the way it is, but open a new door, social business door. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Yunus, for the introduction. Now we will open up for Q&A. So perhaps if you want to raise your hand and then make a question. Yes. Please, if you can speak up.
Hi. So I have a couple of questions. One, if you can maybe elaborate on the difference between non-profits organizations and social businesses. And the other, if you can maybe also elaborate on the profile of people that are usually working for or involved with those social businesses. You mentioned them wanting to leave an impact in the world. So are there usually people that have done well in the past and now are at a later stage in their life wanting to make a difference? Do they usually work for salaries under par? If you can elaborate on that. Thanks.
The difference, non-profit is basically charity. That's what the non-profit is all about. You don't want to make money or you don't want to get the money back to you. NGOs are generally described as non-profit organizations. So general characteristics of non-profit is basically raise money and do your work. And unfortunate thing most of the time is you spend more time and energy in raising money than in doing the work because it's so difficult to raise money. It's not easy. So social business is not about raising money. It's about running it as a business. So you'll be looking for investors, those who would like to invest, because they will get their money back. Only thing they are doing, they are not asking for any profit, because that's not, they make profit somewhere else. But here, they want to see that change takes place. The achievement that you want to achieve, it's done. So that's the difference between social business and non-profit or a charity organization. On the question of profile, it's anybody. You can be a good social business person. Anybody can be a social business person. One may not run or create a social business, but I can invest my money in a social business. Like I write a check for some disaster or some helping some NGO, I do that. So I'll buy a share of a company which helps street children getting out of the street. I like it because I saw my street got clean. So I like that. So I invested my money into that company. And that's why I said, in order to facilitate that, we need facilitation mechanism. I was suggesting that we create a social stock market, because today's stock market is about making money. So you always worry which one you have to invest so that you make rich overnight. So your whole motive is to make money when you enter that space called stock market. So we need a different kind of space where you'll be entering with the motive of putting your money into a company which is changing the world, and you want to participate there. So you are participating in it. Or sometimes you say, oh, I know a good way. I may not be able to invest in it, but I have a brilliant idea how to do that. I put it down in my paper. It's a business plan. How to stop suicides in our society. I'll create a beautiful social business to stop suicide. You came up with a great idea, because suicide is a major issue in Japan particularly. In Japan, on a daily basis, on an average, more than 100 people commit suicide. So it's something doesn't sound right. Why should it be there? So somebody can, since nothing else can solve this problem, can we come up with a social business idea how to stop that kind of thing? So anything that we see, we can create that and then say, here's the money. So anybody can participate. People choose their professions for many different reasons. Why I should be this, why I should be a teacher, why I should be this, why I should be a priest, why I should be an NGO worker, why should I be a volunteer, why should be a Peace Corps. They do that. So this would be one which will motivate immediately. And since it is applicable to anybody, I can have a quote unquote, as it is normal the way we are, but within that normal, I would do some abnormal activity. I invest something on a social business. I can do that. I can design something, or I can offer my creative ideas into a social business so that they can be more efficient. I saw that they are missing something. I give them advice that do it this way, it will be wonderful. I know of something which will help you. This is how it happens. So it's not a special, all I'm saying, it's not a special people, just everybody. Yeah.
Hello?
Oh.
Can you please elaborate on what you think of the involvement of large financial players like investment banks or private equity companies in microfinance? Do you think it's perverting the initial goals of microfinance?
Yeah, I was saying that when we began microfinance, we were trying to fight out the loan sharks. That was our whole motive. And now, meaning that they want to make money out of the poor people. So it pains me when I see in the name of microfinance, some rich people want to make money out of the poor people. So I said that's not the microcredit that we envisioned. We envisioned microfinance to help people get out of poverty and restrain yourself. This is not an area that you should make money. You make money somewhere else. If you take $1 from as your profit, that dollar could have been with the poor person. That dollar would have meant much more thing than that dollar will mean to you. So I would rather keep that dollar in the hands of the poor person rather than take it out from her. So this is how I see it. So when you say investment funds, when they go to make money. Simple. They're not saying we are helping poor people. No, that's not investment funds are made for. If someday you create an investment for social business, investment fund for social business, then it will become real, because I'm investing, but I don't take any profit. I'm investing only in the companies which is creating impact or who are themselves social business. That's what I do. Then it's okay. But that's a different kind of investment funds. But today's investment fund is about making money. I said we should not kind of encourage people to think that here is an opportunity, you invest in here and you'll make money from out of that. So that will be wrong message, because then what's wrong with the loan sharks? They're doing the same thing. Why do you object to it? What's wrong with the payday loans? They take 1,500% interest rate. So what? They're doing business, make money, and people getting money. Otherwise, they only got the money. They're the only source. So you got into that kind of logic. So I don't want to get involved with that logic. My logic is very simple. I prefer this way. Yeah.
Just to follow up very briefly, how about sort of hybrid institutions like the IFC, who are at the same time making money and having a broader social impact? They're also involved in microfinance.
I hope they can prove it. And any business makes some social impact. If you sell pizza, some hungry people will be eating it. So that's not a good argument. Yeah.
We'll go without the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. That's easy. Hi.
So you were talking initially about the social stock market.
Yeah.
I was wondering what your ideas were on measuring sort of social businesses and the value they create, because when you're investing in a regular business, you can measure it very monetarily.
Sure.
It's quantifiable. And I don't know if the idea of social business very often is to measure it in numbers, but I imagine that makes it very hard to understand what is kind of the value that a business is making.
If you make up your mind about something, you'll find a measurement. There are people, experts, how to make them. For example, if you find out whether Grameen Danone is a social business, what impact does it make? You see whether nutrition is happening. And there are people who can measure the nutritional level of the children. And we have invited to just watch over us to see. We don't know. We are only claiming that this will happen. But somebody has to go scientifically do that. So we invited GAIN, G-A-I-N, Global Alliance for Improved Nutrition. This is an international body headquartered in Geneva. So they gladly accepted it. So they keep on keeping track of the children who are eating our yogurt. And they will, over time, they will come up with the results, what happened to the children. Those who ate regularly, what happened. Those who ate irregularly, what happened. And so on and so forth. You know those stuff. So they will come up. And the test of this company, whether that's a social business or not, whether they're achieving that goal. If they're not achieving that goal, then it's not a social business. You wasted your money and time. You let people enjoy good yogurt, but you didn't get the result that you intended. Then you should be closing them, or you redesign the whole thing so that it really makes impact. Impact is the issue. So this is one. You have to measure that. And we'll be asking our CEO, for example, we have to ask the question. If this yogurt company is a profit-making company, we'll be asking the CEO at the end of the year, how much money we made this year? That's a very valid question. In a social business yogurt company, what question will be asking our CEO? Our question obviously will be how many children got out of malnutrition this year. So he has to be prepared to make that report. Otherwise, we cannot discuss anything. We have to see how much progress we are making. Last year we did this year we did this, and suddenly it's fallen this year, and we picked up the next year. Those kind of things. Then we applaud the CEO, or we say, sorry, you didn't do a good job. And water. Whether people are still drinking the polluted water or they are drinking your clean water. That's it. Shoes. Whether they are wearing the shoes. It's a beautiful thing to say we made the shoes very cheap, very decent looking, but nobody is wearing it. Then your purpose is defeated. So you go around, see if they are using it. And the incidence of parasitic diseases has declined. Then you made an impact. So those things, in the social stock market, you have to come with your reports and show your books that yes, you are a social business, nobody is taking money out of this. And then they will certify and list you. And on the way you may deviate. Suddenly you say, this is a great business, I can make money. And stock market will say, sorry, now we have to get you out of the list. You go to the other one. That's your place. So they have to be very alert that what is happening.
In the back, Sarah.
So you spoke about how a business idea begins with identifying a problem. So there's a space where there's a disaster, it may be just a charity, maybe sort of a non-profit approach, and there may be a high investment R&D problem that may require a private sector approach. So how do you go about identifying a problem that's a great fit for a social business? Are you essentially looking for things that are sort of low profit, sustainable areas where non-profits wouldn't necessarily, for-profits wouldn't necessarily enter, and non-profits also? So what is that social business problem?
My mind didn't work that way. I was not looking for, there is a model, then where do I fit it in? That's not it. I see the problem first. And I think, what kind of business I can create to solve this problem? So we have to get the problem first. Drug addicts. How do I create a business to get these drug addicts out of addiction? In a business way, that's what they is, social business. I don't need money. That's not my purpose. If I wish, I could have made money, but that's not I came here for. I want to solve this problem. It is a problem. In many countries, it's a problem. And it can become a beautiful social business. We see it happening as an NGO. NGOs do beautiful work, but they never thought of upgrading it up to the business level. The moment they can upgrade it to the business level, it can become a social business. But they already have that desire. You'll see many NGOs focusing on drug addicts, rehabilitating them, raising money to do that. But if you add a few features, this becomes a beautiful social business. It is self-sustaining. You don't have to bring money from anybody. We identified by accident one such effort in Italy, San Patriano, near Milan. Beautiful rehabilitation center. And they have all the features of becoming a social business. But they never thought about it. So we spent hours discussing. I said, it's just a step. 2 steps, you'll be self-sustaining. You'll be making a lot of money yourself. And this could be plowed back. You can become a franchise. You do that wherever you see drug addicts, you can rehabilitate them. So it's a question of using your mind to a particular area. You name one problem, just say. See if you can create a business. Right now, we're together. Educating one. We have done that in our case, just one particular case, nursing college. Lots of we encourage, I mentioned in my presentation that we encourage our children to go to school, etc., etc. All the young girls now have education within Grameen families. They have done high school graduation and so on, but they don't go further than that because their parents don't want them to go beyond that because they're in the marriage age, they have to get married, you have to have children and so on and so forth. So they're there. So they become the regular rural girls getting married, having children. So always thinking what to do with it. So an idea came, why don't I create a nursing college and give them education loans to come to the education nursing college and charge them tuition at a level that it can cover all the cost of this nursing college. It will be high tuition, but we'll give them education loan so it will not fall on them, on the family right now. And then guarantee them jobs and the salary. We guarantee them job and the salary. We tell them before they enroll, so this is the salary you'll get as soon as you get your degree. Out of this money will go as a repayment of loan. This money you get as a take-home pay. Does it look attractive to you? They said, it's beautiful. This is very attractive salary for us to. They forget about the other part that is coming because its salary is already built in like that. Now we are starting it. Now it's a successful way. We are doing that. We want to create series of these nursing colleges in the country because there's so much demand for nurses all over the world. So I said, why should you be sitting at a Bangladeshi village? You go around the world, be good nurses. We'll train you, we'll give you English, whatever language is needed. You train up in that language and go whenever you get the opportunity. We started only a few months. Already people coming from other countries say, we are ready to sign a contract with you to take the entire batch when they graduate. Take it out. All cost is on us. I said, my God, this is an opportunity. Why should these girls be sitting around doing nothing where they can be professional people and change their life and change their family's life, change their village, all this thing. So this is the social business idea. Just one. There may be many more. Like we are thinking about setting up a motor mechanic school. And we are collaborating with one leading automobile company. They will support us to build for the same reason, that it will be a social business. We'll train up mechanics. Many Bangladeshis work in the Middle East and many other countries. If you have this kind of skill and certificate, sure shot, you get the job. So this is the kind of thing.
One more question, President?
Go ahead, it's up to you. I'm here for the whole evening.
Sure. So I started and ran a nonprofit organization for 5 years. I'm now a business school student here at the University of Chicago.
Good.
And I wrote my business school application essays about socially motivated business.
Good.
And I came to business school hoping to figure out how to do it and realized it was very, very difficult. And I think one of the challenges that I saw, and one of the question I want to ask you, is it seems like part of the success of microfinance has been that there is a possibility for socially responsible investing and for people to generate a small return that opens up the opportunity to folks that might be interested in participating in microfinance and accept a lower return on their investment, but still generate some sort of return. So it seems like you've been able to create a lot of scale because there's this return possibility. In trying to start a social business, thinking about the nonprofit background, the second that we mentioned, business, investors want to generate a return. So how do you find a clientele that doesn't care about a return? It seems like a lot of the partnerships that you've developed are with organizations that are already doing well. And so for them, we're doing something good for the world and we don't need to generate a return. But don't you think if you were able to create or carve out a little bit of profit for individuals, that you might open up the clientele to average individuals that might be willing to accept 2 to 3% for a social business versus just give it to a charity or versus.
So my response to that, you are doing it already. So I'm doing something else where there is no profit. This is based on, as I said, selflessness. No tinge of selfishness involved in it. See how far we can go. Already there are people who are setting up social business funds. I'm telling the governments, while you give foreign aid, why don't you create a social business fund? That money goes anyway. Just take 5% of this money, create a social business fund in that country, which will be plowed back again and again. Every year you're putting in money, it will plow back again and again. This is not extra money. We're not talking about extra money here. Just the use of the money. I tell the World Bank, why don't you create a social business fund within the World Bank so that you can support the world social business to solve all the problems you're trying to do. In social business, everybody gets energized because I can do it. I don't have to wait for the government to do it. I don't have to wait for the companies to come and create jobs for this, which will never happen perhaps. But I can do it myself right now. If the money is available, if the creative idea is right now, I can do that. So solve the problem right now. Nobody will take, for example, the question of disabled people. I can create jobs for disabled people. And I was giving an example. I said, somebody asked me, can you create jobs for deaf and dumb as a social business? I said, it's very simple, at least think about it. I'll start a pizzeria. Train all these deaf and dumb that I want to employ, say 10 of them, to make good pizza makers. They will be working in the kitchen. They don't have to talk to anybody. They don't have to listen to anybody. They make pizza. And somebody else is selling it in the front. That's it. So you have created something which absorbs these 10 people who are deaf and dumb. Similarly, you can talk about the blind people. I said, for blind people, I'll create a call center. All they do is she has a beautiful voice, she answers questions, but nobody knows she is blind. That's it. So it's a question of how you want to use that purpose, and without any motive for making money. People say, why didn't you use, like you said, 2 to 3%? Somebody said, a small amount of profit so that you can attract people.
You can attract more capital.
Yeah, exactly. You attract more people. I said, look, what I'm talking about is a sort of this is a non-smoking room. When somebody says, can I take a puff? I said, no, this is the non-smoking room. That puff changed the whole atmosphere. The moment you delink from that, your mind completely opens up. Your whole logic opens up. You will not realize until you have done that. You are saying that because we are all fitted with the profit-making glasses. We see the world with profit-making glasses. So we cannot even understand what it looks like without those glasses. The moment you take them off and you put on the social business glasses, the world will look so different. With that 1% or 0.5% profit, you're hanging on to that glasses. That's the problem. So you have to delink yourself from that logic of profit. Once you delink yourself, the whole world opens up. Money is not a problem at all. You are worrying who is going to give the money. Money is not a problem at all. Already, as I said, voluntarily people are creating social business funds. Foundations, how much money foundations have? Trillions of dollars. If they say, okay, from now on, there'll be 2 windows in our foundation. There'll be grant money, there'll be social business investment. You've made it. And each social business needs a tiny little money. That's all. Once you create one tiny little social business to solve one problem, to take 10 people in Chicago out of welfare, that's my social business. And it worked. Everybody says, hey, that's great. City government will come to you, I'll give you the money, can you do more? Because I'm spending a lot of money on them. Isn't that so? Giving welfare is a lot of money from the budget every day. If you can take them off the welfare, voluntarily, they are doing it with pleasure. Because who wants to be on welfare? I want to get out. And you created that business. And this money is released for them and it comes to you. That's it.
Thank you, Professor Yunus. It's
Okay.
an absolute honor to have you here at the University of Chicago.
Thank you.
So please have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.